What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. And did you guys know that Nightmare Before Christmas actually has a manga? This is called The Nightmare Before Christmas Zero's Journey. And this is actually sort of a sequel to the Nightmare Before Christmas movies. Now, I'm a huge Nightmare Before Christmas fan. I have been since I was a kid. And to actually find out that there's more forms of media out there than just a video game that I really probably would never play and were never, and with talks of there being a sequel kind of in the works, but most of us kind of just hope that doesn't happen. Turns out there is two different mangas and a graphic novel. But today we are going over I'm going to do a review on Zero's Journey. And quite frankly, it's just like a happy little story in this manga. So basically, it's the next year after Jack's adventures in Christmas Town and with Santa and taking over Christmas. And Jack is trying to get the portals to work with it in the trees. And he can't quite figure it out. But in this whole time, he's actually kind of ignoring Zero, and Zero is just trying to get him to play with him. So Jack just throws his rib, and it ends up hitting the machine that Jack is trying to make in order to activate the doors. Now, Zero obviously goes chasing after the thing, and the door is active, so he ends up falling into the Christmas world. Now, in the Christmas world, Zero has a few different adventures, and Jack's trying to find him, but he's being held up by the mayor of Halloween Town because the mayor of Halloween Town is useless. And Zero essentially just goes flying around. He finds what I thought originally was his previous owner before he was Zero. But that actually doesn't happen. We actually get to see Zero's magic. I'll kind of jump into that here in a little while. But anyway, he meets this guy. He flies by the elves. Eventually, Jack decides, I want to go get Zero, but he can't go, so he sends the Boogie Boys. So Lock, Shock, and Barrel actually end up just going to the Christmas world, since now the portal just works. It's never really explained. But in this, Zero actually ends up meeting the Witch of Christmas, is what I'm calling her. And she has a book that talks about Halloween Town. He meets a person who knows about Halloween Town. He ends up actually meeting Lock, Shock, and Barrel, who are just causing havoc, playing with toys, and just being their regular selves and getting up to mischief, because they haven't really changed anything. And they end up in the candy factory where they end up in the toy factory where the elves are making the toys, and the elves kind of just start going off and being elves. But then the head elf shows up and actually uses a song to hypnotize the other elves and Boogie's boys and into just working, and then faster and faster. But Lock, Shock, and Barrel can't make toys, so Zero has to go get Santa Claus, and Santa kind of recognizes Zero but then doesn't. Zero leads him into the factory. He recognizes Lock, Shock, and Barrel, and we actually see how Lock, Shock, and Barrel caught Santa Claus to begin with. It's a cool little flashback. And anyway, long story short, they snap out of the hypnotism. Santa invites them to be like the guests at a dinner to try and just kind of like show, because it's kind of shown here, Lock, Shock, and Barrel, they're just kids. They're literally just the trick-or-treaters from Christmas Town, and they just want toys. But Santa says you can't get on toys if you're being naughty, and Lock, Shock, and Barrel are like, naughty? I don't even know what naughty, like to them there is no good, there's just bad, because they're from Halloween Town. They don't know what like the nice list is. Everybody's just naughty. They're invited to this dinner on Christmas Eve. So before Santa takes off to do his rounds, they have this big feast, and they're going to light the star on the tree, which normally goes to the head reindeer's position, which isn't Rudolph. It's actually named Clementine for some odd reason. But anyway, that's what it is. So Clementine knocks over Zero. It ends up starting a fire in the Christmas tree. While this is going on, Jack has chosen a small group to go to Christmas Town, which is himself, the guy with snakes in his hands, Sally, and the little bat creature. Kind of just at random. He's like, oh, you look strong and you can fly, so let's all go. And so they go to Christmas Town. The guy, like the snake guy, actually can sneeze snow away, which is crazy. And by this time, Zero has done saved the head reindeer. They've stopped the fire. They're looking for the Lock, Shock, and Barrel, who have stolen presents, because of course they did. And then they get there, so Zero is flying the presents away, and they all have to stop him. Long story short, they end up saving the day, and Christmas is saved. Everyone goes home, and Jack is just happy to be reunited with his best friend. But there's so much stuff and so much fun things happen within this novel. Like, you actually get to see what Jack's going through, because he obviously did learn his lesson. He's happy to be back in Halloween Town. However, he does miss the spirit of Christmas, and he's just wanting to go have a way back. And Zero, you can tell Zero's feeling lonely, but he never gives up on Jack. Now, the big ones that I would like to really dive into, though, are just a few of the characters. So to start with, I would like to talk about like Broomhilda, maybe, I don't know, the Christmas witch here. So she knows about Halloween Town, and she actually has a book. Now she also keeps the Book of Christmas. Now, and she kind of says that the people of Christmas Town don't know where their doors are. I get maybe Santa does, but she says that sometimes when the moon is full, you can see the doors flying over the woods. And so Zero should go with Santa, which never actually ends up happening. So I was kind of like bummed out about that a little bit. But she knows about Halloween Town, which shows like certain mystical creatures within this do know about other things, right? And just the magic in itself. So she is a witch. It makes sense she would know about the thing. She knows the reindeer that can fly. The reindeer go there. She's got like an owl, which is kind of like her spy that goes around and sees things. But she's an interesting character because it just shows like there are books out there in Christmas world or Christmas Town that talk about the other holidays, and we never see any other ones except for Halloween and Christmas. But that was just like a really interesting part of the story to me, and she could like kind of guide Zero to where he needed to be. That was her like whole portion of the story. Another character I like to talk about is this elf. Now, I don't really know his name. I don't think it's ever actually stated in the book. But what's fun about this is this is actually an elf that does not like Christmas. And he actually states that the only holiday for him is Halloween. So here's another elf who is from Christmas, and he actually knows about Halloween. Now, it's kind of questionable, in my opinion, as to whether or not all of the elves just know about Halloween because of what happened to Santa last year. He probably told them about Halloween Town. Or maybe they all just kind of start to figure things out. Or maybe he has a off-brand connection to Halloween Town. But he has this connection because of this. This dog is named One. Now, One's an interesting story. So One actually passed away on a Christmas. He was hit by a sleigh or a car or something. And that's what caused that elf to stop believing in Christmas. Now, the fun thing about One is he actually introduces us to some of Zero's magic. So magic is shown to exist in this world, obviously, because like Sally has a vision of the future, there's Christmas magic. In another novel, you actually see prior Pumpkin King use magic. Oogie Boogie kind of has magic. But we never really saw what Zero could do. I mean, Zero's a ghost with a jack-o'-lantern nose, which I didn't even realize till I read this novel, so I thought that was kind of cool. But he actually, and now, so now originally I thought that One was Zero when he was alive, and he had found his previous owner, and I thought that was going to be the connection. But it doesn't actually turn out that way. What it turns out is like Zero has the ability to see past events and follow along with this ghost, essentially by finding his old toys and things. And what that does is it allows the spirit of One to come into existence and be with his former owner, thus revitalizing his belief in Christmas, which I just thought was an amazing thing. So you actually see Zero have power, which is really awesome because Jack Skellington's kind of the main character, and the only power we can kind of see that he has is he can basically just travel to the mortal realm through doors into the Halloween realm. But that's really all we see him do. So it's kind of cool to see Zero actually having powers and moving on the story in that way. So another fun thing I think you actually got to see is this is a little bit of Jack and Sally's relationship building within the world. Obviously they're kind of together at the end of Nightmare Before Christmas, but in this you kind of see just her once again just being that rock for Jack. Like he is obviously upset. He's struggling with his duties as the king of Halloween and going to save his best friend. And she basically comes up and says, Jack, he will be fine. You need to keep your eye on the Boogie Boys, but that's okay. And you know, we're gonna get through this together. And then she just honestly, just without saying a word, just comes with him to Christmas Town to go and get the dog back. So it's just nice to see their relationship still going strong and just building onto itself with one another. Of course, we can't talk about Nightmare Before Christmas without bringing up Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Honestly, it was just kind of cool to see them kid out. Like, I like the fact that it shows, you know, they are just really interested in toys. Like, they are actually just kids. They're creepy kids and crazy kids, but they are just kids, and kids that want to play with toys and want to kind of be good. They're shown to be really happy when they see Zero, but they're still mischievous Halloween kids, so they are still just kind of having plots in the background that let them do their own thing. So it was just fun to see Lock, Shock, and Barrel again. You had to include them in this graphic novel. It was fun, and it would make sense for them to go to Christmas Town because they had been there already. So they were kind of the best people other than Jack to go because no one else from the Halloween Town had actually been to Christmas Town. And the last guy I want to talk to is actually this, and I'm sorry the picture's crooked, guys. But the last one I actually want to talk to is the head elf. So the head elf is actually mean. Like, he is almost a slave driver. He uses magic, Christmas magic, to hypnotize the elves into working, which is a kind of like a horrible thing to see a Christmas thing do. It's more Halloween than Christmas, so it kind of shows that there is this gray area within this world where it's like, okay, the good people can be bad and the bad people can be good, and it's this weird gray mix, which is what makes Nightmare Before Christmas just truly amazing in itself, and it's one of the better things I love. But this guy uses his magic to hypnotize and control the elves, like I said. And it doesn't just extend to the elves, it's essentially just children and workers, and he's just like, work harder, work faster, do it right, this is the thing. But then he turns around and he's just with Santa, so Santa knows about him. Santa is okay with his methods, obviously, because he's letting him run the workshop. And Santa even like leans on him when the workshop catches on fire to explain, okay, this is what's happening, this is our inventory, this is where we're at, this is the plan, okay, cool, let's do it. You know, he's the one who takes control. And that is sort of a necessary part of being a leader. But on the other side, he hypnotizes the elves, which are essentially just children. You also see some elves like kind of do some sketchy stuff. Like they're kids playing with Zero, they're racing, they're kind of little pricks, if I'm being perfectly honest. So it's like there are some like caveats to this where like the good people are shown to be bad, like I said. And I really do just love that about this novel, and just gives you this greater insight into this Nightmare Before Christmas world. And realistically, guys, that's all I really want to talk about right now. If you guys want to see me kind of go more in depth and explain a little bit more of what we see, maybe do a little bit more of a deep dive into this, into the book, and into the different things we see, maybe give you guys some theories, please let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, guys, let me know, how did you guys like it? Have you guys read Zero's Journey? And if you did, what did you think? What was your favorite part of this little comic? And also, while you're down there, guys, please remember to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you never miss another video from me, and I will see you guys in the next video.